guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Udal. Today I'm going to be talking about how to get your permanent residency as an international graduate without work experience. So firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who has subscribed, who has followed, who has commented, who has watched my previous video. Thank you so much for supporting. I love you guys. So like I said, I'm going to be making more emphasis, a detailed explanation of how to get your permanent residency under the employer job offer routes as an international student. So firstly, obviously, you need to graduate from a program in Ontario. You need to graduate from either a 2-year program, a 1-year postgraduate program, or a 3 years or a 4 years university program for you to be eligible for this immigration program. So, and this program is under the Ontario Immigration Nomination Program, and it's under the Employer Job Offer Route International Student Stream. So when you are done with your program, another thing that I would always advise people to do is to write your English exam, which is I'm more confident with IELTS, so I'm going to talk about IELTS because I'm more conversant with that. So IELTS, you have your it comprises of the speaking, the listening, the writing, and the reading section. So you have to write this exam and you have to get at least a 7 in this exam, and afterwards, this exam is valid for 2 years. So when you write it, you have to be cautious because you have to be to look through it to see the dates that you wrote the exam, so that you start counting so it doesn't expire before you get your residency or your permanent residency in Canada. So after you're done writing your English exam, you have to get a full-time job. Well, before you get a full-time job, you need to apply for your work permit. Okay, that's the next step after graduating from a program. You need to apply for your work permit on the IRCC website. So firstly, they would give you a temporary work permit that you can use to work for the meantime before you're issued the permanent one. So when you're done doing that, getting your work permit, then you can actually look for a job. So you look for a job. Your job has to be full-time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, it cannot be part-time. It cannot be like a combination of 2 jobs at once. It has to be a full-time permanent job, and it has to have no end date, and it has to be valid from the day that you actually get your work permit. Okay, so when you're done with that, you need to get your employer offer, okay, or you get the letter from your employer stating that you're employed there full-time, stating the job and duties that you are doing in the company, also stating your start date, stating your salary. It has to also be signed by you and the employer. Please don't forget that part, because that's one of the reasons why a lot of people get an incomplete documentation later from this nomination program, because when you don't sign the employer later, and maybe you did not sign the employer later, you get a refusal, or like you need to wait again to be able to apply. So when you're done with having all of that, I think that's like mostly like the basic thing that you need to get together. You have to go on to the website and actually create a profile. So I will put in on this link, I will put in like the link to get the link to actually apply for this program. I'm putting it under this video. So you have to go there and put in an expression of interest. So you put in an expression of interest, it's going to pop out like some things that you like. All of the things I've mentioned, it's going to allow you put in like your English language test. It's going to allow you put in like your educational credentials. You're going to put in like tentatively, like you're just going to put it there, your English language, your work permit and all of that, the year that you got your diploma and all of that. Another thing that I want to mention is that this program is only valid to people that have graduated from college to like within 2 years. So let's say you graduate in 2020, you have until 2022 to apply for this program, because it has to be within 2 years, after you've graduated. So when you're done with that, you usually you get an invitation and you only have 14 days to apply. Why am I making emphasis on this 14 days is because you think it's a long time, but honestly, like 2 weeks is very short. So like I said, you have to be like ready, like have most of the things in place so that you are not like running around head to scatter, like waiting for different things. Also, another thing I want to mention is to get your police certificate. So please get your police certificate from whatever country that you are from. If you're from Nigeria, you need to get your police certificate from Nigeria. I think they need a certificate from a place that you've stayed, that you've dwelled in for at least since you were 18. So please get that ready, and all of those things to be able to be eligible for this program. Another thing I want to mention is that they would ask you to submit your resume, so you have to make sure that you have your resume in place and it's up to date. So another thing I want to make mention of is that you need to tell your employer about this as well. Okay, I would suggest that you bring it up as soon as you get your job offer. Like, just let them know that you're going to be applying for your permanent residency, and you would need some documents from there, because there is an employer form that your employer has to fill out. I'm going to put in the link here under this video. There's a form that he or she needs to fill out, and it's comprises of the business registration name and some information about the business that the employer has to fill out. So you have to let them know ahead of time, before you even get before you even get invited, because you have 14 days. So you have to make sure that they're aware of this as well. So the fee for this program is $1,500. You have to pay the fees before you can submit your application, and this program takes about 60 to 120 days for them to get back to you. So sometimes you can hear back from them in 2 months, you can hear back from them like in 4 months time. So it usually takes that time. And I'm gonna let you know that you have to stay in that job until the whole process is over. So that's one thing about this, is that you have to stay with your employer. Like, if it's gonna take like a year, you have to stay with that employer until your permanent residency is processed. So I'm gonna let you know, like, this nomination program, it's different from applying for permanent residency. So you are getting your nomination program, and then you're using your nomination certificate to apply for permanent residency. So this takes about 4 months, and then you're going to apply under the non-express route under the IRCC website. So you put in your it's another page on the IRCC website. So you go on there and you just have to fill out like some documents and submit your police reports, and also your English language proficiency test, and you fill out that, and you have to pay another fee. So this program is quite expensive, because you have to get nominated, which you have to pay $1,500, and you have to also pay another fee for your to actually apply for IRCC. But the good thing about this is that you don't need to wait till when you have 1 year of experience, and then you have to be in the pool, and then you have to wait for them to invite you. You can start arranging your documents for permanent residency as soon as you're done with school. So, well, guys, thank you so much for listening to this information that I have to share. If you have more questions about this, please put in your questions in the comment section, and I will put in out the links that are here that you need to go onto and then check for more information. All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye.